Coming to you from the city without a Walmart, it's Ventriloquism Weekly. Welcome back on a Monday to another edition of VW. I'm Matt Bailey. Today we begin a 3-week-long examination of youth in this art form. We start with Langston Hatch. 16-year-old Hatch hails from Columbus, Ohio, and began ventriloquism when he was 11, but he started performing even before that. Here now to tell you his own story, our interview with Langston Hatch. Langston Hatch, welcome to Ventriloquism Weekly. How are you today, sir?
Thank you for
Oh, it's great to have you back. This is actually your first appearance, but second time we're trying to do the interview. So I want to get started right away since no time to spare here. How'd you get started in ventriloquism?
Well, I actually started in Christian puppetry about 14 years ago at my church with my church puppet team. My grandmother is our puppet director.
Mm-hmm.
And I attended a Creative Ministry Solutions festival, but then it was One Way Street, but now they changed their name.
Yeah.
And one of their classes that they offered was ventriloquism. And I never wanted to be a ventriloquist, but there was no other class that I wanted to attend. So I said, well, let's go for it. And ever since then, it's just been what I've been doing.
It's incredible. Now, last time we talked, I don't want to tell too much of your story myself, but one of the things that really fascinated me last time we talked is that you started learning ventriloquism, but you didn't start performing it for many years. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I actually learned ventriloquism when I was 10, and I'm too much of a perfectionist, you know. I'd done theater and church puppetry, and we'd always rehearse until it was perfect. And that mindset just seemed to follow me through to ventriloquism. So I hadn't been performing for over 5 years. I'd just been at home with a little sock puppet rehearsing.
So when'd you get your first puppet? When did you decide, okay, instead of that sock puppet, let me get a real character?
Well, I'd always had, professional quality puppets because, when you're the director's kid,
mm-hmm.
you get really good puppets, and they were all half-body puppets, so I didn't want to be that person who's performing ventriloquism with a puppet with no legs, and you can see my arm. But I got my first real ventriloquist puppet about 3 years ago, and I got her on eBay. She was a self-sculptured Marianne Taylor puppet, and she's my main character today, and my only puppet today.
That's great. And what's her name? Tell everybody her name.
Her name is Mavis. My name or her? Her name's Mavis Winslow.
Her name. We all know you're Langston.
Her name is Mavis Winslow.
Mavis Winslow. And what was the inspiration for her character? I saw a video quite a while ago when we were going to do the first interview, and it stuck with me. She's just hysterical. She picks on that audience, and it's a really cool character. Where'd she come from? I'm personally an old soul. Mm-hmm. I'm
only 15, but I've taken multiple quizzes online and paper quizzes. They told me I'm in my 50s. So I'm mentally an old person, so I knew that a young character wouldn't work too well with me. And her name, I looked at the puppet, I knew what I wanted her to be like and what I wanted her to look like. And I could tell her name would be Mavis. It's not a typical older person's name. No. And the last name just came from a character on a cartoon. His name was Winslow. I said, that's your last name.
I love it. And where does her characterization stem from when you're writing material from her? What do you think about? What do you do?
The first thing I think about is, what am I performing this for? Where is it at? Mm-hmm. What's the event? The second thing I think of are jokes, because jokes are so easy that you can work them into any type of script.
Yeah.
So after I get where I'm going, what the performance is for, and the joke, I just write words in as a filler. So
that's great.
It's almost like a backwards process than most ventriloquist performers.
No, I understand that. I understand. And so it seems like you give this a lot of thought. I can tell that there was 5 years worth of 5 years worth of work there behind
Hmm.
performance. Why was that important to you to wait? Why? I know you talk about being a perfectionist. I mean, but the antithesis of your thought process is, well, you got to go out and try and fall on your face at some point.
Hmm. It's just I've done so many different types of shows that people have told me I do a good job, and I disappoint myself.
Yeah.
And even as a young person, I was like 10 or 11, and I was like, I do not want to go out and make a fool of myself. I know it sounds horrible now that I'm saying it aloud, but even as a young person, I was thinking that.
Mm-hmm.
And we had school talent shows, and I fought with myself, and I was going to do it, but then I flaked out and did a puppet, and, Sesame Street style puppetry instead.
Yeah.
And when high school came, I said, you know what? This is a new school. I don't know these people. I've been doing this for long enough at home alone and entertaining my family. And I was like, let's just do this. And it was just one of those things that enough is enough.
Yeah. That's great. So you got frustrated with the waiting. It was very
I
interesting.
did. I was just finding myself thinking, what is holding you back? It's like you've been doing this for way too long to just be sitting at home with a puppet.
And what was the answer to that question?
It was talent show audition.
No.
School.
What was holding you back? What was the internal fear, other than stumbling on your feet? What was it? Was there one specific kind of tangible thing that you said that was kind of crippling to you?
I think it was the fact that all the opportunities I had to perform were in front of groups of people that I'd grown up with and I know. And I'm not afraid of failure by any means, but I was afraid of embarrassing myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really holding me back.
Is embarrassing yourself worse than failure?
I think so. Because, I don't know. I really don't know now I think about it. Because you're going to fail and you're going to embarrass yourself. But I don't know.
It's very interesting. Yeah. No, it's
Okay.
just one of those weird things that comes to me. What's the difference between the two? And so now you do it, and you do it really, really well. What do you want to do with it?
Ultimately, my big goal in life was to have my own either television show or stage show, and perform. And I know that, ventriloquism is one of those jobs where if you're not doing, if you don't have a area or a space that you're constantly performing in, you're jobless until your next show.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was talking to one of my teachers about that today. And I know for sure that I'm going to school and I'm getting my education license and becoming an English teacher, but that's not holding me back from being able to perform at night, So it's sort of like that Superman or that Batman mindset where you're this person by day, but at night you're this person,
And what did you say you want to get your degree in? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Education.
Yeah, that's
English.
what I thought. Yeah.
I'm going to be an English teacher, and it's funny because I'd be a fifth generation teacher in my family.
Wow, thank you and your whole family. That's
Yeah.
get on my soapbox here for if I can get on my soapbox here for just a second. Teachers don't get near enough thanks. So that's an incredible passion. And so do you think you might want to educate with your puppet, not necessarily teach in the classroom, but develop educational programs with Mavis?
Most definitely, because I want to be a high school teacher, and definitely in high school, everyone is tense. They have the mindset that you need to do this to graduate. And I know with my classroom, I want to have a relaxed mindset where it's like it's okay. This is a hard time, but you need to know that there are people here for you who want you to succeed, and I'm quite sure a puppet will help them relax.
Great. Yeah, no, I really agree. Now, I want to switch gears here. There's no easy way to switch out of this, but one of the things I always like to find different avenues to talk about this art form. And one of the things I'm going to be asking most of my guests this time around is why ventriloquism? I mean, we talk about how you get into it and because it's so interesting, but I mean, and with you starting out in puppetry, but why ventriloquism and why are you sticking with it?
That's a question I really don't know. It was just something different, and I needed that way out of doing normal puppetry.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm older, I see it more as it's an opportunity for people to see that there are other races of people who can do this talent.
Yes.
There are very few good African American ventriloquists, and if I can be a part of that group in any way, I will do everything and anything to, be a part of that. And to show that there are young people who can do this, and we're staying out of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wonderful, and it's wonderful that you're taking it so seriously. I don't think a lot of youth are in our art treat it as not a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
And it's wonderful when I see that. When did you decide I'm going to do this, or was that always in you from the start because puppetry had been a part of your life for a while?
It's always been in me because of puppetry. And if I do something, I'm doing it wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
We had a theater meeting last night, and I'm on the board. And someone said something a while back that really disrupted me, and I didn't say anything. And for a long time, it had been eating me up. I didn't say anything, and I had the opportunity to say it, and I spoke up. And everything I do wholeheartedly. I'm not going to half-step it.
Yeah.
And ventriloquism was no exception. I was going to do it right, and I believe and I hope that people see that I am doing this with all my heart. And, yeah.
That's incredible. So what does the future hold in terms of now? Not necessarily long-term with being a teacher, but what types of shows do you want to get into now? You said you're 15 or 16?
I'm 16.
15.
16.
16. I'm sorry. My headphones are some of the stuff's coming through, but I can see that it's coming through on the board okay. But yeah, I couldn't tell 16 from 15. You can tell I'm not a numbers person. I'm a ventriloquist.
Yeah.
The ventriloquists can't be numbers people. But so you're 16.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you want to go with it before you're 18?
I just want to keep performing. Right now I'm in school, but I'm trying to have fun. And I'm doing well in school right now, so I'm able to go and perform places and, do open mics. And I love that. I hope to do an open mic soon. So
that's great.
And it's hard now because I am so young to find adult comedy clubs that will allow me to come in and perform. But I'm quite sure that when I do find them, then, everything there's...
Have you done them? Have you done them?
No, I have not, but I've been looking into them. And in Ohio, it's hard because there are a lot of singing open mics. And I'm like, I can sing more comedy.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the last question I want to do, and then we'll let you go here, Langston. I know you're very, very busy. I want to ask you what you want to see from your generation, our generation. It's always hard to realize that, because I talk to everybody, that we're only 4 years apart here. So what do you want to see from our generation of ventriloquists coming up?
I just want to see them to be funny.
Yeah. Because
people focus on the craft, and it's like there's also the content of it, Yes, you may be able to, do ventriloquism very well, but if you lose the audience with your material, then what's the point of it,
Exactly.
You can be the worst ventriloquist in the world, and as long as you're funny and engaging the audience, it doesn't matter. Because they don't look at you, they look at the puppet or your figure as being real, And I just want to see them take it more seriously and be funny with it. Exactly. Because it's all in good fun.
How do you think they can take it more seriously?
Well, I'm not. They need to keep practicing. I'm not saying, spend 5 years before you perform, but just keep practicing. You're never too young and you're never too old to keep practicing. I've been doing puppets at church for over 14 years, and I still am finding new things to try and new things to do. And just keep practicing. Just practice makes perfect. It's a cliche, but it's true.
No, it's true. It really does boil down to those basics.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right, so Langston Hatch, which, by the way, I think maybe I said this at the top, but Langston Hatch, which I swear has to win the Nobel Prize for stage names. I love that name. Next time we have you on, we'll talk about, the origin of Langston Hatch, how the name was hatched.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Langston, thank you so much for coming on. I wish you nothing but the best. You are a very bright young man, very articulate, and I thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Matt.
Langston, you were awesome. Thanks so much, and best of luck with the future. Next week, Jared McLean joins us to continue our series on young ventriloquists. That's it for us this week. A reminder, you can find all you need to know about ventriloquism by visiting our website, ventriloquismweekly.com. That is the mothership. You can reach everything. Reach out by emailing ventriloquismweekly@gmail.com. Now, normally I talk about the Facebook group, which still exists. I like having a group because that's a bit more open to conversation, but I realized I'm better able to disseminate information in a fan page or a like page on Facebook. So go ahead and go to facebook.com/TALKFOR. I can't spell today. TALKFORTWO. Talk for two. Go ahead and facebook.com/Talk42, and you can find our Facebook fan page. As always, search for the Facebook group, Ventriloquism Weekly _podcast for ventriloquists. Tweet us at Talk42, spelled just like the backslash that I couldn't get out for you. I guess too much time studying. All right. From New York, signing off for Ventriloquism Weekly, I'm Matt Bailey, reminding all you vents out there to keep talking for two.